I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. First item on the agenda is the approval of our minutes from October the 10th. Any questions, changes? Nope. All right, we'll approve those as submitted. Next item, report of the town manager, Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I actually have quite a few administrative matters to share with you tonight. First, I will remind folks again that while some communities in Virginia choose the date, time, and other restrictions associated with Halloween trick-or-treating, the town of Bedford does not. We do encourage those who choose to participate in trick-or-treating to plan ahead and exercise caution. Also want to remind everybody that the police department will be hosting a town hall meeting on Thursday at 6:00 p.m. here in the council chamber. Would encourage citizens to attend. Also want to remind folks of the rescheduled Centerfest event taking place this Saturday, October 28th in the Centertown area. And on a community note, I would like to extend congratulations to the Liberty High School Marching Minutemen who were named grand champion of their division at a competition held at Lord Botetourt this past Saturday. I understand this is actually the band director's first such honor, but probably won't be the last. On an administrative note, I want people to be advised that offices will be closed on Tuesday, November 7th and Friday, November 10th in observance of state-recognized holidays. And also, at this point in time, I want to introduce and make you aware of a couple of new colleagues who have joined our team. I'll start first with Crystal Hosey, who cannot join us tonight, but I wanted to make you all familiar with her. Crystal joined the Town of Bedford Finance Department as our new Assistant Finance Director on August 28th. She attended Liberty University, where she received a Bachelor of Science in Accounting degree with honors and a Master of Science in Accounting, including additional coursework in forensic accounting. She has 13 years of accounting experience in both the private sector and the federal government. She grew up locally in Botetourt County and has 2 children, Landon and Cameron. When not working, Crystal and her partner Matt enjoy kayaking and hiking with their dogs Leo and Lexi, gardening and woodworking. And this is what Crystal looks like. We're very glad to have her aboard. I also want to introduce another new colleague who is actually with us tonight, and I'll ask him to come up while I'm telling you a bit about him. We welcomed Chris Pack as our new utility billing supervisor / finance administrator on October 2nd. After serving in the Navy until 2016, Chris finished college at the College of Coastal Georgia with a Bachelor of Arts, concentration in accounting, and a minor in applied mathematics. After moving to Vinton, he worked in accounts receivable for a large corporate company for almost 5 years before transitioning to a smaller local company where he continued AR work as well as expanding into operations and payroll processing. Using knowledge from his previous roles, Chris helped the company implement and test a newer software system that brought AR, billing, operations, and payroll processes into a single platform to better enhance company performance. Although he was born in Arlington, Virginia, Chris grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He met his wife of 10 years in Knoxville, where he worked as a kickboxing trainer and Olive Garden chef before enlisting. In 2018, they decided to move closer to family in Virginia for better support while building up their family. Currently, they have 4 children, Zeke, Charlotte, Oliver, and Luna. In his spare time, Chris typically trains for Spartan races and other endurance races, and we are very fortunate that he chooses to share his considerable talents with us, and I just wanted to welcome Chris Pack and introduce him.
Welcome, Chris.
And that concludes my report. Thank you, Chris.
Any questions?
First, I want to say to Chris, welcome aboard, and thank you for your service in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
All right, next item, we have anybody signed up for appearances before council? Nobody? All right. If not, we'll start with council comments. Councilman Harwick, go ahead if you want to start there.
Yes, first I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. It means a lot to us to see quite a few people coming to our meetings. 2 weeks from today is the election. There's 13 going for 7 seats. we don't know what the results are gonna be until after it's over. But regardless of what happens, regardless if it's all new except for me or everybody else comes back, one thing I will promise is this: I will work with the ones that come back, and the new ones, I will show them the ropes. And you know what? And regardless of what happens with the election, hey, either they say, hey, you know what, we want you to serve a little bit longer, and I'll be glad to do that. If not, it was an honor serving the people here. And, you know, but thank you for everything that everybody's done. And, you know, we got some good things done. And I pass off to Bruce.
Thank you. Good thing last night, Mary Zirkle and her video on the new zoning program, thought it was an excellent, and I understand you're going to take that on the road. And it goes, you can watch it via the internet. Is that correct? What you go to the town?
It's also on YouTube.
Yeah.
On YouTube, okay. So if you're interested in Mary and a whole bunch of folks have been working on this thing for 18 months and done a really, they're cleaning it up and making it easier for folks. So I'm glad that we're making some progress on that end of it. And, but it won't come to us for a while yet, so.
Yeah. Maybe next year.
Oh, one minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mary, thank you again. I know last night you had some interesting questions and comments, and we appreciate it. We are getting new employees in, which is good, Crystal. And I talked to Chris earlier. We had a good little talk. Thank you for your service. Certainly appreciate that. Chris did inform me he was a Georgia Bulldog fan. And anyway, the SEC, of course, now, I informed him I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, so we should have a good back and forth. I know y'all are going for the three-peat, but I don't know. But anyway, it'll be fun. Welcome aboard, and anything we can do to help you, let us know.
Aaron? Bob?
Yeah, I just want to say welcome to Chris and Crystal. Always enjoy new faces around here. Welcome to the team. Looking forward to working with you. Good to see everybody here tonight. Good to see it's quiet. I like that. But I wanted to give a shout out to Liberty High School too. That was great. I'm glad they succeeded in doing that. So I really don't have nothing else to say other than that.
Just a couple things real quick. The police department had a night out Saturday night, showed a movie down at the farmer's market, and had a chance to go by and had a decent crowd, and they didn't burn the place down trying to cook s'mores, so that was good. So Chief, thank you once again, and Travis, for your outreach to the community. As you continue doing those types of things, like I said, appreciate that. Chris, Crystal, welcome. Just don't look up here for anybody to train with you on any Spartan races, I don't think. But anyway, but welcome. And you're assembling a really good staff, and that expertise and depth of knowledge is going to only just benefit our citizens as we move forward. So we appreciate that. Only thing I'll say about the election, yes, it's in 2 weeks, so it'll happen before we meet again. Exercise your right. That's all I'll say, is exercise your right to vote and make your voice heard. That's important, so that everybody will know, and you'll have your chance to say who you want to lead this community going forward. Finally, last thing, I think the next meeting is going to be kind of informative too. Is VDOT still planning to come? So VDOT's going to be coming next meeting then we'll probably be discussing and getting some information on some transportation projects.
Also, the Department of Rail and Public
Right.
Transportation.
Right, so the Department of Rail and Transportation is going to come and kind of give us an update, hopefully on the next steps for the train station. So so next meeting will probably be a lot of transportation discussion, so, along with some other things. But anyway, with that, we'll move into the report of council committees. CG, we had a finance committee.
Yeah, I filled in for Darren.
Or Dan, or,
No, no,
okay.
I was a bit late, so you took over.
I was just messing with him.
Sorry about that, Dan.
Oh, yeah. We had a finance committee meeting. Ann did a great job of reviewing the end of the first quarter financial statements with us. Very good overview. End of September, we're looking very good financially, and more to come. Thank you.
That was our only committee met since the last meeting. No revisions to the agenda. With that, we'll go into the first public hearing, which is in regard to the South Street parcels, the request to convey 2 parcels to the Housing Authority. Mr. Warner?
The Town Council of the Town of Bedford on Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. in the Town Council chambers will hold a public hearing pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-1800 concerning the transfer of real estate from the town to the Town of Bedford Redevelopment and Housing Authority without a fee. The real estate to be conveyed are 2 vacant parcels of land containing 0.31 acres and 0.266 acres. Both have frontage on South Street and are bounded on the east by 530 Odie Street, on the south by Ridge Street, and on the north by 527 South Street. The tax parcel numbers are 214-A-133-T and 214-A-132-T. Information concerning the transfer, including a map of the land to be conveyed, has been on file at the town manager's office. Individuals interested in the proposed conveyance may appear at the hearing and present their views now.
All right, with that, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would wish to speak on the public hearing to transfer the 2 lots on South Street from the town to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority? Nope. All right, with that, I'll close the public hearing. All right, Ms. Warner, would you read the notice on the public hearing for adopting amended and restated articles of incorporation of the Bedford Regional Water Authority?
Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the Town Council at 7:00 p.m. on October 24th, 2023 at the Town Municipal Building Council Hall. The purpose of the public hearing is as follows: to receive public input regarding the consideration of amended and restated articles of incorporation of the Bedford Regional Water Authority. The amended and restated articles remove a 2-term limit on members of the Board of Directors and fix typographical errors. Information has been on file in the office of the town manager. Anyone who is in favor of or opposed to the request shall now have an opportunity to express his or her views at the hearing.
All right, I'll open the public hearing on adopting the amended and restated articles of incorporation of the Bedford Regional Water Authority. Anybody wish to speak? Yes. Please give us your name and address and
My
your
name
thoughts.
is Nancy Layton, and my address is 750 Peak Street. And while I understand the reasoning for adopting this resolution, I'm not really in favor of it, mostly because I think it deters people from participation, and it may lead to an automatic rubber stamping of this is somebody I know, and therefore it tends to cause people not to participate when they should. So I do understand why, but I just don't agree. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? All right, we'll close the public hearing on the amended articles of incorporation for the Water Authority. All right, next item, we have a presentation from Mr. Wagner on Bedford Electric operations. Mr. Warner, do you have anything you want to introduce Mr. Wagner, or let him start? Just, all right.
Good evening. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. And most of you folks know this information I'm going to present, but let me get the computer working here.
Fine.
Okay, and you have a copy of the presentation in front of you. I just wanted to start off with the management team that we have. It's just not me at the electric utility, but we have A.J. Fairchild, who is our operations superintendent, Jeff Kennedy, who's the assistant supervisor, Joe Peterson, who runs the hydro plant, and I'll tell you that Joe is a perfectionist and has made the plant run like a Swiss watch. We're very pleased with Joe's work. And then we have Elvin Epting, who has been with us off and on for many years. He's come back 3 times for retirement as one of our engineers. And a new hire, Charlie Epperly, who just started last week. And very excited to have Charlie with us. Now the question is, what do we do at the Bedford Electric Utility? Well, we generate, transmit, and deliver electricity to about 7,000 customers, some here in town and some in the county. We maintain about 800 miles of electric lines and 11 substations. And that's quite a bit for the small crew that we have, especially the right-of-way crew that has a tremendous amount of vegetation management to do pretty much outside of town. Although I know they were working on Main Street today, actually. We generate about 20% of our energy locally, and that's between Snowden, our solar project, Hope Rock, which is another hydro facility up on the James River. We're very fortunate to have those resources behind the meter. That saves us quite a bit of money from the PJM perspective, which is the regional transmission organization, and also from Appalachian Power, who provides us transmission services. So we're very fortunate to have that. And compared to most of the other municipal utilities in Virginia, we're way ahead of them in that respect. The other thing that we do is quickly respond to outage calls. Some of you are familiar with the fact that we last year implemented an outage management system that has really improved our response times and given us better information. So when we get to an outage situation, we pretty much have an idea of what's going on when we get there. So we're very pleased with the new outage management system. The other thing we do, obviously, is charge competitive rates. And let me just say that our rates, or our bills, I should say, are significantly lower than APCO's. And for many years, our bills were about the same. And it's been in the past, say, 2 or 3 years that APCO has seen a large increase in their billing. And ours have stayed about the same. And the other very critical thing we do is provide revenue to the town in terms of a transfer to the general fund. So there's a lot going on at the electric utility. This is just kind of an overview of what we do. Now, where do we get our energy? What are our energy sources? I mentioned that we generate about 20% of our energy locally. But overall, being a member of the American Municipal Power Group, we are responsible, essentially a part owner of a coal-fired power plant. So we get about 34% of our energy from coal, and we get about 28% from natural gas, 17% from hydropower, which is Snowden, Holcomb Rock, and also SEPA, Southeast Power Administration. We get a small amount of hydro energy from them. And we get, right now, we're fortunate, we get about 9% of our energy from wind power. We have a purchase power agreement with a wind farm in Pennsylvania. And that just started last year. And then we get about 3% from our own solar facility, which is off of Draper Road here in town. That's within the town limits. Just mention quickly that we'd like to get a second solar facility. We've been searching for a site. We think we're getting close to something that we want to present to the property committee and electric committee sometime in the near future. And then the last source of energy is market and short-term purchases. What we tend to do there is cover the peaks as best we can. We generally just buy short-term peak power. We have contracts in place for January, February for peak power this winter season. Well, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Next page is a pie chart that shows specifically the sources of energy that we receive. And the coal-fired power plant that we are a partner in is called Prairie State, and it's in southern Illinois. It is the newest, the cleanest coal-fired power plant in the United States. Unfortunately, the government, state government in Illinois is forcing us to close that plant before the end of its useful life. So right now, it will likely close around 2040, 2042, 2043. We are on the hook till 2047 for the capital cost of that facility. There's some discussion at AMP that...
When you say we, John, you're talking about AMP, Ohio, or are you talking about us?
The town.
The town.
Okay.
As an owner, as a part owner in the facility through AIM,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah, we are responsible for roughly 9 megawatts of the plant. It's 1,600 megawatts, but we're responsible for 9 megawatts of that cost. So there's some talk within AMP of filing a complaint for a taking of the facility's economic value. That has not been completely decided yet. There's discussion about how that would be the reaction from the state of Illinois. I mean, we got a very favorable decision compared to other coal-fired power plants in the state. They're all closing around 2035. We got extra time.
And let me interject also, sorry, John. The decision to enter into that agreement, we're on the hook for a 40-year agreement. That decision was made back in 2006. Coal at the time was the cheapest, most efficient energy source there was. So without making excuses for our predecessors, at the time it was a no-brainer. But things change.
That's right, unfortunately. And the federal government is also coming out with their slate of regulations. We could even force that plant to close even sooner. So we're doing our best. We're spending all sorts of resources at the AMP level to keep the plant going as best we can and meet its commitment over the life of the plant. The other big facility that we're a partner in is called the Fremont Energy Park. It's a gas-fired power plant. It's located in Ohio. It's become kind of a baseload plant with the low cost of gas recently. It's a combined cycle plant, so it's very efficient. Ohio has not got any plans to force the close, so that will go till the end of its life, hopefully. The next plant that we are purchasing 100% of the output of the Holcomb Rock facility, which is another dam up on the James River. That's giving us about 9.7% of our energy. We have a contract with the company that runs that facility. We entered into a purchase power agreement for the Locust Ridge Wind Facility, which is located in Pennsylvania. And again, it's a renewable energy resource. Unfortunately, you're at the mercy of Mother Nature there. When the wind blows, it's a good facility. When the wind does not blow, it's a problem.
And those were fixed price contracts.
For a fixed price.
Right?
It was a 3-year deal at a fixed price, which was slightly below the market price.
Right.
Then our own Snowden hydro plant, which is, that unfortunately is very much at the mercy of Mother Nature. The plant has not run in about 6 weeks because there's no water in the James River. It's the lowest we've seen it in years. You can almost walk across the river. There's just nothing up there. I don't know how we're not in a drought situation. Wow. But the plant has been offline for about 6 weeks. We've been doing our annual maintenance up there, so we should be ready to go if we get some kind of sustained rainfall. And that depends on rainfall to the north and west of Big Island. So if it rains here, it really doesn't do any good up there. It's gonna rain up in the James River Basin. We are also going through our FERC licensing process, relicensing process, which we should hear something from FERC next spring. We've been working on that for 3 years, so that's a long-term effort. Also, the Bedford Solar Facility, which is...
Real quick, John, you're not gonna pass your guys. So y'all just went through your dam inspection?
Yes, we did.
And got an
Yes, we did.
100% grade on that, so I mean,
Correct.
let us pat your employees on the back and you're on the back for that too, because that's, dam safety is hugely important, obviously.
Obviously, yes. But now we're a low-impact dam, which means our dam could wash down the river and it wouldn't hurt anybody. But
It would hurt us.
Yeah, that is correct. Good point.
Yeah.
Yes, we had our inspection just a few weeks ago, and we got a 10 out of 10, so we're really pleased with that. As I said before, Joe Peterson is a perfectionist. He has that plant so spotlessly clean. The inspector said, I don't think I've ever seen a hydro plant this clean as what you have. So that was great to hear. And by the way, just anecdotally, the dam above us, which is operated by our friend, got a 1 out of 10. So we did real well. So very pleased with that.
John, I know we saw this a while back, but right here it says we generate 20% of our energy locally.
Yes,
Is there
sir.
anything we could do so we could bring that number up?
Yes, as I mentioned, we're been searching now for years for a second location of a solar facility. Excuse me. And that would be the way that we can bring that up, and also bring up our amount of renewable energy generation. So we hope to bring a proposal before too long as far as acquiring land to install a second project. What else? So Bedford Solar now is just about 3%. And then we've got some contracts for peak summer and peak winter season. And then we're down to market purchases of about 8%. So that tells the story for us. Now the next slide shows some of our behind-the-meter generation that we're really fortunate to have and very proud of. The first one is the Snowden Hydro Plant, which you see that picture on the left side. And by the way, the background picture is taken from the Snowden Basin, right above the dam. The dam is to the right of that picture, and the head gates are straight ahead. And that's in the background. The next facility, which has been a tremendous moneymaker for us, quite frankly, is the Bedford diesels that we have on Orange Street. And they run during peak conditions about 100 hours a year. And they save us a fortune in terms of transmission cost and PJM capacity cost. We're very fortunate to have those. And by the way, we were the first folks in AMP to purchase the Power Secure systems, which is the white box there, which are sophisticated, clean diesels. And since we purchased those, we constantly look at the option to upgrading or adding more of that capacity, but the price has doubled since we purchased those units. And we spent about $2 million on those, and now they're over $4 million for the same equipment. And on the right, we have our solar sheet on the pasture in the Bedford Solar Facility. That facility has gained a lot of notoriety because we have our vegetation management team, which is a herd of sheep. They work pretty cheap, and they do a great job out there. So, and a lot of folks around the state have picked up on this, that we're using sheep on this facility. Now, what is our budget? Our budget is about $23.8 million. Of that, about $15.8 million is purchase power or power production cost. So you can see the vast majority of our cost is tied up in energy and capacity, I should say. Our personnel cost is a little over $3 million. Our other operating cost is about $3.5 million. Our capital budget this year was about $1.4 million, which is down from what we had in some previous years. We contribute $584,000 is what's budgeted to contribute to the general fund. And our debt service is about $1.2 million a year. So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll have our debt service paid off and we'll be able to perhaps refund some of that money to our customers in the form of a rate decrease. I think that would be appropriate to do. Any questions about the budget?
Okay, about the debt service, I thought it was my understanding that the electric department retired their debt a couple of years ago. I thought that happened.
No, we had talked for some time about, we had a goal of retiring the debt within 7 years. We're going to be a little bit longer than that, but no, we did not retire. We've been making some early payments a few times in the past, but we did not totally retire our debt.
Yeah, we refinanced it several years ago, but we didn't extend the term. But we also refinanced it at under 2%, I believe, 1.97% rate. So we look pretty good right now compared to where interest rates are. So, yeah, I mean,
And I'll just make the other comment. That level of debt service for an organization like that, ours is very low.
Right.
It's, very common to see 3 times that much or 4 times that much debt in an organization like ours. So we're very fortunate. Now, who are our customers? Is the next slide, and that has like a Excel page on it. And right now we have 2 large capacity customers. The weaving mill, obviously, is our biggest customer. And then the plastics manufacturer that's in the industrial park is our second largest customer, or our second customer on the large capacity rate. Then we have about 20 large general service customers, such as Fostech would be a large general service here in town and 4 in the county. And small general service, that's a variety of small retail and offices and that type of thing. 635 of those here in town and 259 out in the county. And then on the residential side, we have about 3,600 here in town, which is about 52% of all of our customers are residential located here in the town. And then out in the county, we have about 2,300, almost 2,400 customers. That's 34% of our customer base. So 86% of our customers, almost 87% are residential, split between the town and the county. And all of our customers, just under 7,000, 61%, 62% are here in town, 38% out in the county. Now, we charge the same rates in town and in the county. There's no difference in the rates.
John, how much time do we spend working within town as compared to in the county?
Well, I always say that we spend about 35% of our time in town and 65% out of town. And when you look at the way that the out-of-town customers are very rural, so you might have one customer every 2 miles out of town. Of course, here in town, we have a much higher density. And we have such incredible vegetation management issues out of town. We have been talking for some time about getting some help to get that vegetation under control. This year we tried a spraying company that went along and sprayed the canopy of our transmission lines. We're going to see how that works out. But we're just about fully staffed. I think we have one opening on the right-of-way crew now. And we have some very experienced folks on that crew, and I really anticipate that we'll be catching up on it. I call them the busy beavers. They're out there cutting as much as they can constantly. And as long as we can give them the equipment that they need, I think that they'll do a good job. But we did budget last year to have an outside right-of-way crew come in and help us. And so we spent half of that money on the spraying crew, and we anticipate spending, we found a good outside right-of-way company, so we anticipate that we'll be doing some business with them this year in the future. Now, where is our revenue coming from? Well, we got about $11.5 million in revenue, census sales revenue within the town, and about $6.6 million out in the county. So 63% of our revenue in town, 7% out of town. And then the energy that we sell is about 69% of the energy is sold in town and 31% out of town. And obviously, we have our biggest customers located here in town, and that's what helped shape that sales percentage. Now, what's next for the electric utility? Well, as you all know, I'm sure that there's a very aggressive green movement out there, and that's something that will shape our power supply strategy going forward. That ties in with the second solar facility, and even at the AMP level, they are making plans to increase the renewable energy in their portfolio as well. So we definitely see that side of our portfolio growing in the future. I don't remember the exact date here in Virginia, but it's somewhere around 2040-ish that we're supposed to be carbon neutral.
I imagine it'll change.
Yeah.
Well, the previous administration had tied us into California standards.
Yeah.
So it will take the act of the legislature to change that. But we're planning for a greater percentage of green energy going forward with the early closing of Prairie State, which is our largest energy source. And of course, a push towards zero emissions, which is coming from all directions, but very heavily from the federal level. But some states like Illinois are going ahead with their own green schedule, which is more aggressive than the federal level. And then, of course, we have customer-owned generation, which is gradually growing in our territory. Primarily for us, the customer-owned generation is rooftop solar. So I can see in the future that is going to be a larger share of the pie for us. Right now, we have about 20 rooftop solars in our territory.
Residential, I guess?
Residential,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. The other thing that's on the horizon, which everybody's talking about this too, is EV charging. We have our own charging station out at the Welcome Center. It's not getting very heavily used at the moment, but I can see more and more cars up there charging. We do not charge for that. Right now, that is free. But if we see, a tremendous amount of activity up there, we'll probably have to start charging for it. And there are some individuals, one of the restaurants here on South Bridge Street has got a charging station behind the restaurant. So we will be coming to you with an EV charging policy before too much longer. And EV charging is great as long as it's off-peak. We do not want that on our peak because it will impose a great financial burden on us. So we want to come up with a policy that will encourage folks that want to charge their EVs to do it off-peak times. Or we'll have to come up with a charge way to rates that will compensate us for that on-peak usage. But that will be coming before too much longer. The other thing that is not talked about a whole lot, but since we are tied to California standards, there will be no more sales of internal combustion vehicles after 2035 in the state of Virginia. Now, for us, you know, when we buy a truck, like a big bucket truck or a line truck, we expect 10, maybe 12 years use out of it. So the trucks that we're going to be receiving over the next 3 years are going to lapse over into that 2035. Now, you can still use them, but the question is, will you be able to get parts to repair them, to keep them on the road after 2035? Now, obviously, this can change. It's not. It's in kind of in stone now. I guess it can be re-stoned in the future. And so that's something we have in the back of our mind as we go forward. Is, you know, and when we buy a large bucket truck, it's $300,000, $400,000. They're very expensive. But right now, we have about $500,000 of trucks on order that we will not receive for 3 years, and their useful life will extend over the 2035 deadline. So we can still use them after 35, but will we be able to get fuel, and will we be able to get parts for them after that?
Do we know the power of like a large bucket truck as far as electric?
Well, there's some out there.
I know you got the hydraulics and everything else that goes along with it.
I think there's going to be a lot of advancement in battery technology to make that work. But Altec, you've heard of that name, they are producing them now. You know, and the situation with us is when we have a truck out in Big Island, you just can't go down to the corner store and recharge it.
Well, that's my thinking. I mean, you've got to be able to get to a source somewhere, but
That's right.
I guess a lot of changes are coming.
Yes, and as you know, during like the winter storm that we had last year, those trucks were running 3 days straight.
Right.
Never, you know, we'd go and fuel them up, but they were constantly running for 3 days. I don't see how an electric vehicle, with the technology we have today, is going to be able to do that.
Well, yeah, you'll be at a job site sometimes a good part of the morning or afternoon, and the truck's running the whole time.
Right.
So,
And I'm sure the cost will be a lot more of,
Yes.
to purchase one of them as well.
Yes, and those trucks have to run all the time because of all of the power takeoff
Right,
and the hydraulics that you need to use your boom and all your ancillary equipment. So it's not like they go to a job and stop running.
yeah.
They go and they run continuously.
I'm just not seeing the big picture yet, but I'm sure I will at some
Yeah,
point.
I don't see it either, but, you know, technology marches on, and
It's true.
you know, what we see in 5 years may not look anything like what we see today.
Right.
The other thing that's a very real issue for us is staffing and retirements in the competitive marketplace. And we compete, you know, with APCO and Dominion, Southside, and just in the contractors. Now, we got lucky. We were able to hire a lineman from APCO. We had to pay him the top that we can pay. And I won't tell you what impacted his income, but it was very negative, let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
So we are going to be faced with issues there. We have, I've been saying this for a long time, but we have at least one full crew that could retire tomorrow if they wanted to. And so we're gradually trying to staff up through the apprentice program. We have 3 people. 1 completed it, no, 2 complete, and not 2 into it, I'm sorry. So we have 4 people that were involved in the apprentice program. And, you know, very fortunate to pick up another A lineman. So we'll keep slugging, but we're going to have to work with you folks to come up with a strategy to refill those positions. Very, very challenging environment that we're facing. And finally, you know, what are the advantages of public power? Well, to me, the way I see it from my perspective is one of the main advantages is local control. You guys are our board of directors. You establish our long-term strategy and where we're going. We carry out that strategy. So the fact that local residents, both in town and out of town, can speak with us directly, the top management, and also our board of directors directly, is a tremendous advantage. You're not going to do that at APCO or Dominion or even Southside.
Oh, no.
So that's a tremendous advantage that we have, especially for economic development, or if we have a new residential development coming to the area. The fact that those folks will have access to you folks and to us is a big advantage that we have over the investor-owned utilities. The other thing that we think is a big advantage for us is we have fast outage response times compared to the investor-owned utilities around us. And our dollars, to a large extent, are spent locally at all that we can, which helps the local economy. Of course, we have competitive rates and competitive bills. We give our customers direct access to green energy. We have a green energy program, renewable energy program here, so customers can acquire renewable energy directly from us. And then, of course, our contribution to the general fund. So I think public power is done well for the town. It's something that the town and residents can be proud of, and we're doing our best to move ourselves into the next phase of the industry. So, any questions, comments?
John, I just want to say, I appreciate what you all do. I mean, I'm amazed. I know years ago, you all, or the electric department, produced about 5% of the energy locally. It's up to 20%. I think that's great. Of course, we've got more energy sources now to draw from, and I've said for years, the outage response is great. Of course, where I came from, it is a little slower.
Yeah.
It can be, but at the same time, you all do a great job, and I certainly appreciate it, and I do tell people about it.
Right.
Keep up the good work.
We really do appreciate your support, and believe me, everybody. We have 24 full-time employees now. I think we have one or two slots open, but we're pretty well staffed. In the past, we were maybe 4 or 5 slots open.
Yes.
But I can guarantee you that all of our employees appreciate your support, and to know that you're behind them means a lot to them.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Now, while I'm up here, I have some good news for you. You also have a piece of paper regarding the PCA. Now, I'm not going to read this to you verbatim, but we've been very fortunate that we've been experiencing lower purchase power costs now for some time. And we've caught up in terms of our PCA to where it should be. And right now we're proposing to reduce the PCA by about 1 cent per kilowatt hour, a little bit more, and which will give the average residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours a month about a $10.03 savings per month. So that charge itself will be going down about 40% PCA. That means that on the overall bill, customers will be saving about 7.11%. And we're proposing to put this PCA in place November 1st. So under the ordinance, it automatically will change, but I wanted to make you all aware of what's going on.
And that'll run to March?
May.
May, 6 months.
So, very pleased to present that to you.
Thank you.
We don't see any terrible weather in the forecast these days, so if we have another mild winter, we'll even be in better shape. But it's hard to predict that.
Never know.
Anyway, that's the good news. I appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or comments?
John, I just want to say, we had talked about having your crew to check the lines.
Yes.
The way the growth of the limbs was on the line.
Yes.
But I saw you out there one day, your crew out there one day, the entire street, they cut them all off the line. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And another question, I noticed you said that we need to get some rain
Yes, sir.
in the river.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, if we don't get the rain in the river, will Snowden just sit idle until we do, because you cannot run without having enough of water in it? It'll just,
That is correct.
but it'll be ready to go.
It's ready to go. That's why we're doing our maintenance now. We do annual maintenance when the water season is low, and it's usually around this time of year.
Okay.
But it's lower than it's been in years. I've never seen it this low. Now, Joe Peterson, who is the hydro supervisor, who's been here 12 years, said he's only seen it this low one other time. And but there's no rain in the forecast either, so I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
John, didn't we at one point talk about having some smaller generators that would work under low water?
Yes.
Is that still in
Yes,
the works? Or
as a matter of fact, we finally got that contract squared away to start that feasibility study. So we have contracted with a consultant to do a feasibility study at the Snowden plant to repower the old plant with small turbines that can generate under low water conditions.
And that's all in conjunction probably with our relicensing as
Well,
well?
no, it's
Or
not, because we'll
Okay.
have to go through a license adjustment if we go forward with the project.
Okay.
You know, we couldn't go forward without a specific solid plan.
Plan, okay,
Right. So
all right.
that's what
I
this
didn't know if it was
feasibility-
incorporating that in this relicensing or
Yes.
not, okay.
Yes,
would it be able to operate currently if
Yes.
you had that?
yes, it could. Now, these are very small, our turbines, there are 2.5 megawatts each. These would be in the 500 to 700 kW range, so they're smaller, but they can operate pretty much any time.
So if you have those in and the current turbines, will you be able to operate like all four?
When the conditions are right.
Right, when the water conditions are right? Okay.
Remember, we have the problem when there's too much water.
Water, you can't, yeah.
You can't, there's
You won't be
no-
able to use the low water turbines, okay, all right.
Right. So that's the problem with run-of-river hydro, is you're really at the mercy of Mother Nature. So we are going ahead with that feasibility study.
John, I had one. As far as if we have another deep freeze like we did last Christmas, are we ready this time?
Well, we will be more ready, and we have done some more hedging in terms of purchase power price than we did last time. So you recall, one of the issues was we ran out of fuel.
Right, that's what I'm,
So we have instituted a more stringent purchasing policy for fuel
okay.
than we did in the past. And so we will be ready there. Can't say what will be happening up at the hydro plant. You know, last year we had a condition of too much water during some of that time and freezing, and that was just Mother Nature again.
Okay.
But we definitely will be more aware. The thing that really hurt us is the way that AMP treated us during that period of time. That cost us a lot of money. And so I've been working very diligently with AMP to get them to change the way they do things. And I'm very hopeful that they can do a better job next time as well.
And PJM.
And PJM,
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
I was reading how AMP's looking at trying to get them to,
Yes, yes. It caused a tremendous amount of problems, that storm last year. Nobody expected it, but we knew it was coming. We knew a week in advance it was coming. But, so I hope that the whole grid is more prepared, and we definitely will be more prepared for it
Okay.
if it should happen again.
Thank you.
Okay,
right?
well, thank you for your time.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So next item on the agenda is the resolution for the South Street parcels, request to convey 2 parcels to the Housing Authority.
At its meeting on September 26, 2023, Town Council received information on a request from the Town Redevelopment and Housing Authority for vacant land and acted to schedule a public hearing on the request. The Town of Bedford Redevelopment and Housing Authority requested to receive 2 vacant parcels owned by the town located on South Street at Ridge Street and Odie Street. These parcels are tax map number 214-A-133T and tax map number 214-A-132T. The lots are both zoned R1A for residential uses. The parcels were offered for sale in the past, and a suitable buyer was not found. At their regular meeting on August 10, 2023, the authority discussed requesting that the town council convey these 2 parcels to the authority for their use in lieu of a budget allocation in fiscal year 2024. There's a letter which explains the intent of this request attached to this action form. As part of their deliberations, the authority disclosed requesting that council also cover all costs of the transaction and to provide a title search to confirm clear title. The authority is currently working on a strategic plan that would include discussion of how to use these parcels for their directed housing purposes. Tonight, having held a public hearing per Virginia Code Section 15.2-1800, Town Council is requested to consider transferring the parcels on South Street to the Redevelopment and Housing Authority with assistance from the town attorney on the transaction.
All right. Do we have a motion to send the lots to the housing?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or any questions? None?
I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we obviously at one point did try to sell them, got no real activity, so I think this would be
Right.
a good use for them. Obviously, affordable housing is an issue in this community. We all recognize that. And you know, I'm confident the Housing and Redevelopment Authority will find a good use for it and hopefully provide some quality housing, quality, affordable housing on these lots. So, yeah, so I don't have any real questions or any problems with it. And
They have a good team over there with Mary and some others, and they will find good use for it. I'm very confident.
all right, roll call.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Hardwick?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item on the agenda is the resolution to adopt the amended and restricted Articles of Incorporation of the Bedford Regional Water Authority.
The Bedford Regional Water Authority has requested that the Town Council adopt amended and restated Articles of Incorporation of the Water Authority in order to, 1, remove a 2-term term limit for Board of Directors members, and 2, to reflect the city's reversion to town status. The Bedford County Board of Supervisors considered an identical resolution on October 23rd, which was passed. Tonight, having held a public hearing on the amendments, Town Council is requested to approve or disapprove the concurrent resolution with the Board of Supervisors.
All right, so do we have a motion to adopt the amended and restated Articles of Incorporation of the Bedford Regional Water Authority?
So moved.
We got a motion, a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay. So, a question, is Branke a voting member of the board? Yeah, because someone was asking me about
I wouldn't think so. I think
he
he's the
is.
executive director.
Correct. He occupies the same relationship to that board of directors that Bart does to you.
Yeah, because someone was asking me about that, so I just wanted to clarify that.
And currently are allowed 2 appointments, correct? And that will be going forward, that should
Yes,
be,
that's the minimum number that we can have
Yeah.
under the Articles of Incorporation, and that clause has not changed.
right.
Addressing the concerns of the citizen, though, I mean, I get it, that makes some sense as far as does it deter other people from volunteering? And I could see that, so I understand the concern, but I mean, I just think where we are, the experience that these folks gain that are on there for a few terms, I think is invaluable. So I just personally think the good outweighs the bad, but I do understand your concern.
Same here, you know, obviously, you know, you can be stale if you're on there too long.
Right.
So it's weighing that, but the good thing is this council will always have that mechanism every 4 years, you know. You know, I don't think anybody should be on there for life.
Right.
I certainly, you know. But at the same time, like I said, it's going to have the Water Authority's got a very important role in what's, you know,
Yes,
the
they
future
do.
of this community. So, you know, and the council needs to take that appointment extremely seriously and entertain whoever, you know, wants to serve in that position, and have a conversation with them. But at the same time, we need to have that flexibility, I think, to, okay, well, if you don't have anybody, you know, at least you can keep moving forward. You know, so I certainly recognize and I've thought about that point too, you know, okay, you know, how long is too long sometimes?
Well, and I think sometimes that individual will know that, but the one that's on there now is, actually, I believe, been on there since the board was established, so he has a lot of experience there, and he is willing to continue to serve. And until he says, I've had enough, then I certainly think it's worthwhile to
Well,
keep
we've
it
got,
on there.
so we're not, we're only talking about the amended articles tonight. We don't have to make this appointment.
No.
The current appointment ends at the end of December, so we will, I believe, right? Is that correct?
You have time to make the appointment.
So we'll have another more
Just to change
in-depth
the bylaw.
discussion. Yeah, this is just to change the
You know-
amended articles.
Before we go, I'd like to address Ms. Layton. Thank you for coming out tonight. We need more people like you that are watching us, holding us accountable. But I also understand your concerns about how somebody could get recycled over and over again. That is definitely a valid concern. I also recognize the value of experience as well. And we need people willing to step up, willing to turn into application and go from there. But I do appreciate your concern, and I do appreciate your experience as well.
All right, so any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Hartwick?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson? Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, and the next item is the Industrial Revitalization Fund, Woolen Mill Redevelopment Grant Award.
In March of 2023, the town of Bedford was awarded an Industrial Revitalization Fund, or IRF, planning grant from the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development ARPA funds program in the amount of $60,000. This planning project was to enable a planning study of the Woolen Mills complex at 550 Grove Street, owned by Way Out West LLC, in order to assist with moving development forward. 3 things were studied on the property as follows. 1, a market study to determine several factors, including the market demand for mixed-use space that includes industrial or office space, as well as multifamily housing, and a target industry study with the goal of identifying the best potential industries to occupy the space. This also included some pre-development activities such as pro forma development, code and zoning assessment, and to determine building programming with the highest and best use. 2, architectural drawings to capture a high-level concept of the space that will be used to assist in the tenant recruitment process and will also illustrate how historic tax credits may be employed throughout the redevelopment process. And 3, Phase 1 historic tax credit application. The grant paid for the costs of the consultants for the above tasks. A portion of the pre-development budget was used for administrative costs like construction cost development, finance planning, and assessment of all available incentives and tax credits. When it was complete, the total amount of expenses was $59,345. The grant is reimbursable to the property owner who paid to have the study completed. Tonight, Town Council is requested to approve the below budget amendment, which will appropriate budget to the general ledger accounts listed. An increase in the revenue line item identified as IRF Woolen Mill Planning Grant revenue of $59,345, and an increase in a corresponding expenditure line item identified as IRF Woolen Mill Planning Grant expense of $59,345.
We have a motion to approve the budget amendment.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second? No.
Discussion, questions? I got a few.
Yeah.
Way Out West 2 LLC is Mr. McCormick, correct? Okay. And so we worked with him to get this grant. Are we entitled to a copy of the report, or do we have a copy of that report because of us being the funnel to that? So I think we should definitely have a copy of that, in our records. I hope, well, I mean, this is a huge project, obviously, and it's a vital project that is going to need to be done in that area. I just hope we're not moving too fast. Let's get the one done we're
Yes.
in the middle of and waiting for. So that's all I got to say about that. anyway, I appreciate your work on that, Mary, and, you know, like I said, that area definitely needs to be revitalized, but let's not jump too far too fast, in my opinion. Anyway. Anybody else?
I think you echoed what we all were thinking. We want to see the first one completed and then move forward.
So,
And this is a budget.
yeah, it's a budget
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
all-
money's, the work product has been done. We got the grant. I mean, we're just a pass-through.
Right.
But, you know, at the same time,
And
you know,
it's a separate, well, I agree with what you're saying, but
right. All right.
this is just to get it on the
Yeah, let's
books,
just-
and I think
let's
we
just
need to
pass
do
it through
that.
and pay the
Yeah.
bill, right? Yeah. All right, so we have a motion, a second. Any other roll call?
Mr. Hartwick?
No,
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
All right.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 6 ayes and 1 nay.
Okay. All right, with that, we're adjourned.
Good deal.